Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Ham Nation is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Ham Nation, episode number 49, May 22nd, 2012. The Dayton Experience. Hello, everybody. This is Bob Heil, K9EID, and we're all together on Ham Nation, just coming back from the Dayton Hamvention, and we had a great time. Gordo, did you make it back safely?
I did, and we even saw the eclipse on the way down.
Ooh, we want to hear more about that. But before I get too far, Gordon, do you know what 1 year ago tonight was?
About a year ago, 2011.
Yeah, but it was the first night for Leo Laporte to have this great idea to put Ham Nation on the air. And so I thought we should, I'll sing happy birthday to Ham Nation. What do you think? Here we go.
Okay.
Roll it, Lynn.
Wow. A year ago, huh? To us. Nation, happy birthday, Ham Nation. Woo!
Yes. Right. Oh, and hello to you, George. You haven't been around the whole year, but pretty much of it, and you certainly are a centerpiece of Ham Nation. How are you going? Did you make it back okay?
I made it back okay. Boy, what a big time. You know, I've been a ham for 21 years, and this was my first year ever to go to Dayton, and I was completely overwhelmed. I think I came in Ham Nation about, I believe it was episode 8, somewhere around there, and it's been a blast. I'm so happy to be here and burn a little solder.
That's right. Well, we're so happy that you put up with us, and everybody loves you. We learned that, of course, not only through the chat room each week, but at Dayton. My gracious, everybody really likes smoking solder. And Don Wilbanks is here. Don, how are you doing? You've been out riding around in your Jeep. Is that what you told us earlier?
I did. Today was a top-down Jeep day since it was sunny and almost 90 degrees in New Orleans and South Mississippi. So I got a little redness here because of driving with the Jeep with the top down. So yeah, it's a great day. Made it back safely, me and my crew, and it's happy birthday to Ham Nation. It's wonderful to be here.
Well, it's nice to have you and join us in some of the hosting here as we get into the summer when I get too busy. I can't
More
be
than
here.
happy to help. More than happy to help.
And Cheryl will be with us in just a while. She's watching the chat room, so everybody should check it out on the chat room. And, you know, Gordon, we had a lot of people ask us many questions, but one of them was, how do I get to the chat room? They hear us talk about the chat room, and if you're watching us live, you can go see the chat room and weigh in on it. And you do that by going to irc.twit.tv, irc.twit.tv. and it'll take you to the chat room, and you'll see, and it's going crazy. So there's a lot to do there, and there it is right there. You have to just sign in, and away you go. You can have a nickname if you want, or you can be whatever you want to be, web whatever. There you go. It's that easy. So we want to get that going. Gordo, you and Julian had a really good time at Dayton and worked hard. Julian was busy the whole time with his camera. I just wonder what you would say to the audience about what you saw that was the coolest and the best, the biggest, most fun, whatever. What was your impression of Dayton this year? And you've been to many of them. What do you think?
Well, this year we had wall-to-wall sunshine. This year at Dayton, everybody was upbeat. I would say that attendance was up 8 to 10%, which is really great. There were a few holes in the exhibitor floor, and they should have just let the next-door exhibitors spread out. But nonetheless, it was nearly a full show, and the swap meet, which we'll see in just a few moments, was packed from Thursday setup day on.
Yeah, it was really something this year. And I didn't know until we got there, George, that this was your first year. My goodness, what was your – I know you have to be overwhelmed. If you've never been there, you have to be overwhelmed. But what was one of the most impressive things that you take home out of Dayton from being there the first time?
There were so many exhibits there, and I got to see very few of them. We had so many activities going on and shaking hands with so many fans of the show and meeting all these people that I've seen in the chat room and that I've talked to before but never met in person. And it was great to see all of them, but probably the most impressive thing to me was the size of the flea market. That's really where I wanted to spend some time looking over the old junk and parts there. And I was hoping to bring home a big stash, and I think I only spent $15. And the most expensive thing I bought was a hat for $6 to keep the sun off of me.
Well, I'm so glad you could join us. Don, you're there a lot. What did you see this year that was maybe different or better or more impressive than anything else this year?
I think what struck me, and I'm sorry about the picture, I've got a ultra slow connection right now. DSL in the country just is the worst. I think I've been going every year since '99, with the exception of just a couple of years, so the last few. And what struck me most was being on the pointy end of the pile-up, being involved with Ham Nation now. That's what was just amazing to me, was just outrageous, just the amount of people that came up to say hi to us and say such nice things to us. It was just, I kind of know what it's like to walk in yours and Gordon's shoes now, which was kind of amazing. But it was fun. I thought that there was a lot more. I thought this was as well. I really enjoyed it. Always do. Always have enjoyed it.
Well, we really appreciate your help, because this can't be done by one or two people. There were so many there, and we'll get into some of that later because we have some pictures. But let's roll back to Gordon and Julian. You've got some really great video, and especially the first one. I was very, very honored that Gordon and I were invited to a private showing in a hotel room day before the convention opened to see the new Kenwood. That was the buzz on the street this year. Gordon, tell them the rest of the story, or no, show them the rest of the story if they're watching, but we want the podcast guys to know, too, what's going on. So go ahead, Gordo. Let's see what's happening.
All right. Well, it started out that we got to the hotel, and the room was almost all ours. We had to do this before all the honchos came in, so we had to work quick. So if we could go ahead, Brian, and roll that video. What we first saw in the room was the white cover. And then as we got in closer...
Anybody around? Nobody. No. Do it. Oh, wow.
Nobody's coming.
Wait, it's got a yellow. I go ahead and push a button.
Let's go. What do you think?
Oh!
It didn't. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Think about it. This is the first time anybody's seen this.
Oh, man. And first time we've ever been tuning this live. Ooh, I love the feel of that now.
Oh,
Now,
man.
I understand, Bob. They've got the 590 receiver as the sub-receiver.
The sub-receiver's a 590. Look at that.
Is that great?
Or,
Look at this, man.
Here comes Phil.
yeah.
Phil's coming.
Got an S meter up here. Oh, Phil's around. Well, let's continue to play with it. Oh, this is great.
Okay. We got to put it on 7268.
Oh,
See-
that's right,
See
yeah.
if Mike and the guys
Got
in the
lower
man are
side
there.
band, main, sub.
Yeah, cool.
Oh man, look at all the activity. Yeah, there's a couple of our Ham Nation stations.
There they are, right?
Yeah,
There's
probably Leo.
K5LN right
Yeah, yep. There's probably Leo Laporte.
George is right there because it's the biggest signal on the band. And that's smoke coming out. See that?
That's
George.
right. That's right. Okay, let's
Cool.
see. Built-in antenna tuner.
I tell you what,
Built-in power
something I
supply.
noticed here. Look, it's got input processing and output, so you can adjust the input and then also the output. So if you're overdriving, you know how processors
That's right.
sound overdriven.
That's right.
You then reduce the input and run up the output. That is a cool feature.
That's great. All right, headphone jack on the front, paddles on the front, and I saw paddles on the back too.
2 USBs here. There's one USB and a LAN on the back panel. Oh wow!
And look, it's got to take the Heil mic.
It'll do it.
No change.
No change.
Oh wow!
Yep.
That
Cool.
is great. The megoscope's here. Scan mode. Let's see if I can freeze it. Here we go. Oh, pause. We got it. Look at that. And let's do a marker. Yeah, there's a marker. Put it in there. Oh, I love this
Yeah, that's
display.
great.
Isn't
All right.
it?
Phil's coming.
We better
Feels good.
cover our back up.
Well, see.
Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Ooh, look at this.
Is that
cool? This is wonderful.
So that was our
990
sneak
X.
preview of the new Kenwood TS 990. Probably 6 to 8 months away before we'll actually see it. The chat room says how much? I don't know. What do you think, Jewel Man? 5 or 6 or 7 or 8K, maybe a little less, but what a rig. Back to you, Bob.
Yeah. We should have taken a picture of the back panel. We saw it. It wasn't anything any different than most of the big radios today. It had 4 antenna inputs, and it had one cool thing. It does have USB, a couple of them on the back, a couple on the front, 232 in the back, normal things, a couple of speaker outputs. Then, of course, all of the accessories like line out, line in for audio. So I don't know what the deal was, but I see a lot of comment on forums today about the back panel, why they didn't show it. Believe me, it was there, right, Gordo? There were 4 inputs, weren't there?
I think there were, but they said, Don, W6 GPS, our photographer, videographer, they said you can't shoot the back of it. So I guess the back is secret other than the 4 antenna jacks. Thanks to Don. He had to pull out that camera at the last second when Phil was out of the room. And we didn't get a chance for the white balance. But nonetheless, you had your first look at a operating Kenwood TS 990.
Outside of the plastic box.
That's right.
They had it under the plastic box, so nobody could tune it. That was great. And then you guys, you took off to the flea market, and you've got a lot of things going on out there. I understand that you and Julian had your own little smoke and solder going on. Not so much solder. What were you doing, Gordo? What's that story?
Well, the key to Dayton is you get in on Wednesday, not Thursday before the show opens on Friday, but Wednesday night. So you get up nice and early, shake off that terrible ride out on the airlines that'll remain unmentioned that took us almost a day to get out there. And then you see the swap meet during the setup. So let's take a look and see what it's like for the world's largest amateur radio swap meet. Acres and acres of swap meet excitement. Roll that video.
Putting together antennas. It's in. Don't see
Now, big long dot at the end.
The blazing pickle from Gordo.
And now, live from the CQ party, it's Ham Nation.
You're off by 3 killers.
There's the arena, and here are folks
wow.
just coming out
Sunshine.
ready to swap.
I can't believe it. First time in all my years at Dayton, the sun is going to shine all 3 days. Okay. All right, John, looks like quite a collection of tubes. How long have you been collecting tubes?
23 years.
23 years. Can you tell us a little bit about the tubes? So I'm going to give you the mic, and you can give us a tube tour.
A tube tour. These are just a large assortment of different transmitting tubes made probably from the 1930s through about the 1950s.
Wow.
Some of the little receiving tubes, like the little ones here, are earlier from the 1920s. They have little tip tops on them where they used to draw out the vacuum from the top of the tube. But most of these are transmitting tubes. You have some other things like a flash bulb from a camera, which is odd, but it's kind of a unique thing to put here. Ballast tubes and dummy load antenna tubes, but it's just a kind of a unique assortment of different transmitting tubes.
That's you, Julian. You can put that on your next vehicle. You'll be rolling. Come over here. Only in Dayton is the honor system. Place cash here.
Only
One
at
ring-a-dingy, 2 ding-a-ringies. I wonder if this does 9... 1... Make it 915.
Could it be worth the buck?
Bob, you need
Julian, look at this. Can you imagine when we shine up the brass what this is going to look like? One of the many finds at the Dayton Hamvention 2012.
Brighter.
And we've got military mass. Now tell us the difference between aluminum and fiberglass.
Okay. The fiberglass is lighter, okay? It doesn't hold as much weight. It can't handle as much weight. The aluminum is the stronger one. It's corn if you wanted a temporary setup or a permanent setup. Now, the neat thing about them is they interlock. They will work together. So you could have, if you wanted to put up, say, a dipole, you could have this part being non-conductive and this part being your support down below. Okay? You could have, say, 2 of these and then 6 of these to go up 8 poles, which is about 40 feet.
Wow. Field day is coming up,
Yes,
right?
It is field day coming up, and I'm my club's field day chairman.
Ah.
So, so we will be using these as well as AB 577 mast and just whatever we can use.
Wow. So we're ready for field day. Yep. And for those of you on Ham Nation, we hope that you're ready for field day too. And if you need any masks, come out here and see Mike, a very outrageous person. N3
VOP.
VOP. Now, is there a technique to flipping those burgers for hams?
Getting burned.
Oh, without them burning. Okay, that's great. Yeah, your shirt's on fire, but no problem at all. John, K9, Whiskey Tango. Hi, John. What's that on the back of your back?
Well, this is a PRC 68B, which is a 1980s vintage military handheld radio that goes 30 to 88 megahertz in 2.5 kilohertz steps. It's preset in 10 channels and it runs about 2 watts FM.
It's important to always travel with a good-sized antenna mobile. K0GUV knows how to do it for Dayton Hamvention. Wow, what a vehicle. Michael, thanks for bringing all this. Looks like you're ready to uplink to the world, huh?
And in fact, we can do that.
This is good. This is the ICOM AT120, the 130 and the 140, and they are long wire antenna tuners, and of course half the antenna tuner circuit is the ground. What a lot of folks don't know is that the tabs that we mount the ICOM antenna tuner are not ground, but rather the ground bolt down here goes through a braid to the tab, and the tab will fix it there. So if you've got this tuner, make absolutely sure you don't mistake that this is above ground and that you need to ground from what you see right here is the wing nut to the chassis ground. And for you Collins lovers here at the Dayton Hamvention, we have you covered. Plenty of Collins gear. Finest gear ever made back then, still used today, including the instruction manuals as well.
That's beautiful.
At the Dayton Hamvention, there's no telling what you're going to find out here. Look at this. We're talking about a great war surplus receiver. And at the Dayton Hamvention, at the swap meet, if you find that you didn't get a good deal, you can always return it. Or else, a quarter wave antenna at its, well, yeah, I guess, a quarter wave at its best. This is wonderful. A good old ICOM 32AT with what I would say is a little bit more than a quarter wave antenna, right? On 75 meters, if you enjoy going up and down the band, you can now do it with a broadband dipole made out of, well, what do you make the dipoles out of?
Horse fence.
Horse fence?
That's right.
And
we got the horse over there. People ask me, what's this made for?
And
horse fence.
And how well do they work?
They work great. Got over 300 of them out there in 8 foreign countries and all over the United States.
Wow. And can you make the horse sound that goes along with a dipole?
Well, I was thinking about that last night in my videos. I need that horse nicker or something in there in the background, you know. That ought to do it.
Well, there goes another ham dropping with all the gear in his pocket. Yep, no problem here. We're here at Pneumatic Launchers. Next time you have a 200-foot tree and you need to launch an antenna wire over it, hams have home-brewed their own. K8 Uniform Hotel goes overboard on Mobile VHF. Take a look at that antenna. I mean, we're talking about phase dipoles. It's called a collinear array. The antenna on top, we have no idea, but it certainly looks impressive. And that's the whole idea at Dayton is you got to impress them with big antennas. We're here with Mary, N8 DMM, and Mary has brought for sale, George, you're going to love this, the soldering iron. Now, this would be good for what, Mary?
Revenge on your cell phone.
So, George, next time you work on a cell phone, Mary's got just the soldering iron for you. And here's a good way to get up your 75-meter antenna here at Dayton, and that is balloon antenna.
Live and direct from Dayton.
Just in case there's a widespread emergency, we are here with every radiation monitor known to mankind. And check this out. An original Gonset Goonie bird. Is that great? The best. How long have you been collecting all this stuff ready to sell it?
About 3 years. I don't really collect it, though. Although I do have hundreds of different units.
Wow. And are these working radiation monitors?
Yes, all of these on this table are working.
All right. Is there any cause for concern that they're all going off right now?
No, none at all.
Oh, yeah. Ward and Nancy, we see them at Quartz Fest, but now we catch them at Dayton 2012. Now, look at all of these great buttons. What did you find exciting here at the show?
I love the park and swap. So I love to run around out here.
And just get stuff, right?
Yeah, let him get stuff.
Oh, you got to carry the stuff. Ward, how long have you both been doing Dayton?
It's our 10th year.
Wow, is this a huge one this year, huh?
Yeah, it seems bigger this year. It does to me.
And we've got sunlight. Is that amazing?
We've got sun.
All right. You want to say anything about Quartz Fest for next year?
Come on out, operate W7Q.
And you bet, and thanks for putting up that big antenna, making Quartz Fest happen. Dayton, 2012. Well, we asked John to bring his Tesla coils, and John, you outdid yourself. Now, how far is that going to throw an arc when it gets going?
Well, I have a coil at home that I built with my son for a high school project, and it's very similar to this one. And it puts out a spark about 18 inches.
Wow, that'll make everyone's hair stand on end?
It sure will. My dogs take off when it's running, that's for sure.
Yes, I would say so. So thanks for bringing all of this great gear, because as instructors for ham radio, we love to keep the students on the edge of their seat, and this would do it, huh?
It sure does. It helps people understand resonance and induction. It's just a great learning tool.
Well, now do you build these yourself?
Yeah, I wound the coils at home, and it's kind of a tedious process getting that secondary wound, but it works out good.
Well, if ever you decide to go in the antenna business, I know a lot of folks would love to have that great coil.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Horse fence.
Oh, that was great. All right, Bob, back to you. Julian's right here, and we hope everybody had a great time watching that. Go ahead, Bob. Back to you.
Guess what I got?
Oh, no, you bought it. You ogre.
Why not? Only thing is I already had two of them. One on 6 meters, and this one's on 2 meters. I also have the linear for it. You know what really makes it special? A lot of people don't know the story, and one of these nights we'll have to explain the whole deal of the CD radios that were given to amateur radio operators long before ARES and all of the wonderful things we have today. But this was it, man, a station in a box. And it's one of those things. I grew up practically with a Gonset communicator, worked Hawaii on one of those with a little antenna on top of it. But check this, Gordo. Mine came with the canvas bag that's in perfect shape, and you could carry it out into the field with that canvas bag. Those were the days, weren't they? Thanks for that. That was great. That was great. Well, I tell you, before we get too carried away here on some of our Dayton excursions, let's go see what happened in the news while we were all going crazy at Dayton. So we're going to switch over to the video from Don for Newsline this week and see what was happening. Let her roll.
From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 1813, here are your Ham Nation headlines for Tuesday, May 22nd. 2012. Canadian hams may soon be heard on the 5 megahertz band. This as Industry Canada has posted the request from Radio Amateurs of Canada for access to 60 meters and opened a new window for anyone to file comments on the proposal. Back in 2010, the RAC approached Industry Canada and requested the use of 5 center frequencies in the 5 megahertz band, specifically 5332, 5348, 5358.5, 5373, and 5405 kilohertz. The RAC stated that the use of these frequencies would allow for more reliable communications during emergency operations. It noted that the propagation characteristics in the 5 megahertz frequency range allow for both local and interprovincial communications. The proposal still needs to complete the entire Canadian rulemaking process. Canadian hams and other citizens have until June 12th to file comments on the matter. In a strange turnabout of events, Belgium, which only recently threw a paperwork logjam into the lives of hams with antenna registration based on hours on the air and power output, has suddenly granted a major power increase to its entry-level foundation class license holders. On May 4th, the Flemish government's telecommunications regulator BIPT announced power increases that could permit entry-level amateur radio foundation holders to run 100-watt transceivers on the high-frequency bands. Well, more accurately, run 100-watt output transceivers at about half of their power level. The new maximum output power for Flemish Foundation class license holders is now 50 watts, but that's up from the 10 watts previously permitted. It's not all good news, though, for the Belgium-based ham radio newcomers. That's because that nation's Foundation class HF allocations are being reduced slightly on most bands, but the changes are far too many to list here. The change in power level for the Belgian foundation level ham came as a result of a lobbying effort by the Belgian National Amateur Radio Society, the UBA. Meantime, there's no word on any hope of easing the antenna paperwork requirements now faced by all classes of Flemish hams. The United States Senate has voted to confirm Jessica Rosenworcel and Ajit Pai as FCC commissioners, and they've been sworn in. Rosenworcel is Senior Communications Counsel for the Senate Commerce Committee and also has FCC experience. Pai worked at the law firm of Jenner and Block since April 2011 and is a former FCC attorney and Senate staffer. This now brings the agency up to its full complement of 5 commissioners. And finally, a little piece of ham radio history that you can enjoy and share with friends while perusing the latest ham radio videos posted to YouTube. Our producer, Bill Pasternak, WA6ITF, came across one featuring the late radio, television, and film actress Lenore Jensen, W6NAZ, running phone patches to Vietnam. The film is titled A Visit to Mars. It was part of the United States Army-produced series The Big Picture. Bill dates the documentary to the late 60s and notes that the phone patch was obviously simulated for filming. He adds, "Did you ever hear noise-free audio on the high-frequency DX bands, or the public always remembering to say over?" No, it never happened. Those details aside, the film appears to be accurate overall. It depicts the way things were done about 50 years ago and is a trip back in time. You can see it for yourself online at youtube.com. Just search Military Affiliate Radio System and look for A Visit to Mars. And that'll do it from Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news, brought to you each and every week for nearly 35 years at www.arnewsline.org. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW73. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation, working without a net this week. And Bob, I wanted to share something kind of interesting to you. When I walked up to Ray Novack Friday morning, he saw the little Yaesu microphone on my backpack, and he says, "Oh, this will not do." So maybe this will.
All right.
The new Icom D-Star Radio came in the mail today.
Man.
So got to make Mr. Novack happy. So there you go.
Whoa. Don, thanks so much. As the chat room saying, that's a true broadcaster that can pull that off. Wow. Thanks so much. And I guess we're going to have to get you involved in the Viasat thing. I have to tell everyone that we were so thrilled. Viasat, the new satellite service, brought in 3 engineers and put in the system so we could uplink the Ham Nation on Saturday. And man, did that thing work. Whoa. So we're very, very happy.
That thing's amazing. In fact, I was trying to get cable out here because we now finally, I live about 10 miles way off the interstate, but in the country. And we got a quote from the cable company as to what it would cost to get cable. And just to run the line from the pole to my house is about $4,000. Just to have them run the silly cable out here. So I'm going to stick with my slow DSL for right now, but I'd love to get the Viasat. That's amazing
do that for
technology.
$49 a month or something. Viasat, it's great. You know, when we got there, we set up, I think it was Thursday morning. This guy came to me, and he looked familiar. I'd met him before. We meet so many people. And it was Bob West, WA8 YCD. I see his name all the time. He's sending this stuff in the chat room and on. And he handed me a bag of these. And I'm talking a bag. Robert, this was cool. And we really appreciated it. So a whole bunch of us were running around with the badges. And I really appreciate you doing that because somebody went to a lot of effort, and we really want to thank you here on Ham Nation for doing that. So it was easy to spot Ham Nation people, wasn't it? That was great. I have some pictures. Let's run through these slides real fast. We're going to try to get them through and narrate them so that some of the guys just listening can also live the Dayton experience through our words, and we'll start with the first image on this slideshow. And there's that good-looking crew. George, I told you, we had our own wardrobe aficionado there, didn't we?
We sure did. I tell you, Gordo, he really made us step up the show there a little bit. It was hot in those, Bob.
It was. The weather was very hot inside. And what we're seeing are the 3 of us in tuxes as we were on the live broadcast. And then we managed to make it happen, though. It was hot in that building. The next slide was with Mike came all the way from Gilroy, California. And what you see, if you're watching tonight, you see something hanging around his neck. And that could be a good question for your contest, George. Should we ask that, or should I tell him what that is?
You can go ahead and tell him what it is.
Okay. He's from Gilroy, California, WT6H, and he runs the 40-meter net, and he came all the way out to Dayton just to be with us and help us. Gilroy, California, is the garlic capital of the country, and he has a piece of garlic hanging around his neck. I thought it was cool. And it's really fun to meet you, Mike. We appreciate what you did, and especially to bring the garlic. So there's Mike. So when you guys get on 7268 after a while, there's the crew you're going to get to talk to. Next was very exciting. These are two gentlemen. I think it was a man and son from Belgium. And when we were over at the National Hamfest in UK last year, we took a couple of extra days and went to Belgium. So it was really nice to meet these guys. And they're really fun guys. So this is an international convention, and I just wanted everybody to see. So that's why I had their picture. There were so many people there. Next was our friend Dan. Dan K9, is it N9 or K9 LVS? He runs the show notes afterwards. He does a lot of work, and then he's around on a lot of Google Plus and does a lot to help keep Ham Nation going in the background. And that's what keeps this program so alive, are all of you guys kind of in the background, and a lot of people don't know how much time and talent you put into it. The next one was our friend Mick. Mick is from Comet, and you can see behind him a display of the Last Man Standing antenna. That is the antenna that's above the studio there, where at the CBS studio, where they filmed The Last Man Standing, and Mick has installed that antenna for him. Next is kind of interesting. I saw this. I didn't believe it. This is really a cool deal. If you got a window and you're trying to run a piece of coax, how do you do that? Well, they have a new thing. It's a band about an inch wide, just a flexible band, and that is 50 ohms and will pass RF. And it's they call it a window gap jumper. And it's a flat coaxial cable. It really is neat because it'll allow you to hook your antenna up outside, and you don't have to drill any holes. Like, I think, who was it? It was Joe Rudy. Was it Joe Gordo that carries the drill with him?
Yeah, he just bored a hole right in his windowsill. He got the coax through.
And we're talking about hotel windows. Oh, you do crazy things when you're out there on the road. I know, trust me. Next was a biggie. This was the Heberling. This radio's from Germany, and it's $20,000. So I think they were taking trade-ins on your Honda, George. Did you catch that part of it, that they took trade-in? What were you finding about this?
I didn't get to see that. I got tied up in the booth so much, but that sure is a nice-looking rig. And what color is that? Is that maroon or red? Or
it's kind of purple. How you like that?
Kind of purple. They stole our color.
Yeah, but it is amazing. I didn't get into all of the features, but they've been talking about it for years, and they sold one of them. I do know that. He was very quick to tell me that. He was staying in our hotel, and he was down there at breakfast one day, and I saw his shirt, and so I went by to see this. And I got out for 15 minutes, and these these pictures I took, I did in about 15 minutes. I was going, but I got my little scooter. I have a little electric scooter, and I run around the place when there's not a lot of people in it. And here's our friends from DX Engineering. They have all kinds of antenna pieces, and they sell all different types of other things also, and as well as our microphones, and then they have amplifiers, but they're very knowledgeable. I like these guys a lot. They do a lot of fun things, and they were right beside R&L and MFJ. I didn't get a picture of them. I wish I could have. And then around the corner was HRO and AES, and that was all fun. Come back to my hotel, and here's this mobile sitting out in the parking lot. And I'm going, what is this? And it's a car, an SUV, with, I don't know, about 30-foot mast on the back of it. He didn't travel down the road like this, so what we call a rover, but he was working the satellites, and he was talking to a guy. Now, we're in Dayton, Ohio, and he was talking to a guy in California via the satellite. The top antenna, that got him onto 432 and then 2 meters, those top two. But right in the middle of that, there was a 6-meter band opening. He goes with the other radio, and they go out there and spin that around, and that's his 6-meter antenna on the bottom, and they were working a guy in Florida on 6 meters. Okay, guys, I know I sound like I'm so wound up. Dang it, if this doesn't wind you up to do this kind of stuff, this is what makes ham radio, right, Gordo? How's it get any more exciting? Because I know you do this kind of stuff. It's really great.
I do. I think that's the best. And talk about a 6-meter band opening. It was good, but it lasted only like a half hour.
Yeah, they were going crazy. My next slide, number 10, is none other than Gordo. It's a great shot of Gordo and George. We were talking away and having fun. And then the next picture is, you guessed it, Purple Bob. My tuxedo, I brought my purple one. Yeah, I got all kinds of colors, but I thought it would be apropos to have a purple, why not, tuxedo. This is very special. The Ham of the Year. Always, each year at the Dayton Hamvention, they announce the Ham of the Year. Gordon, what year were you Amateur Radio of the Year?
Gosh, it was about 12 years ago.
Yeah. My great award came in 1982, about a year after Senator Barry Goldwater, K7UGA, was made Ham of the Year. I was very honored by that. Well, who you're looking at there, that's a picture of S. Siri, and he's from India. And you can see some of his family behind him. He was the Amateur Radio Operator of the Year this year at the Dayton Hamvention. Came from India, and it shows the international flavor of amateur radio. And I just think it's so wonderful that Dayton pulls this kind of stuff off, because it lets people know. Back in the ARRL booth, they had the makers going on, and hey, it's just a upscaled smoke and solder. Upscaled because there were, I don't know, 10 or 12 stations, but they were back there building things, and that's what it's all about. So that was a quick view of what went on at Dayton. The last slide somebody sent me today, K9STU. Look at that, Gordo. Look what's in the bottom of that picture, that antenna.
That is great. Good shot of the solar eclipse.
With that pretty antenna, conical antenna on top. I just thought that was kind of cool to throw in there and have a little fun with it. So, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. But I had a lot of fun seeing everybody, and I wish I could have been out. I never get to go out on the parking lot, because if I ever go out there, I will never get back. I wanted to go out and see Jerry, KC8ZUL from the APL labs. He had one of his monster broadcast transmitters in the back of his truck, his remote radio. As he says, remote. Yeah, I think it's 2.5 ton, and I missed seeing him, and I wish I could have. But
we saw it, and it was very, very impressive. Also, W5KUB doing his podcast from the moment he left his house through Dayton and then back again. Very impressive.
That was pretty cool. He does it every year. You guys, when you get through with Ham Nation tonight, go up and put W5KUB.com and check it out, because he'll have all these replays. He does an amazing thing every year. He travels. I think it's, what is it, George, 10 hours, 12 hours it takes him to get from Memphis to Dayton, and he does it with 4 cameras in his car.
I think he does it in a little under 10. I'm not sure how he does it, but he moves on, and of course he got stopped one year, and everybody had fun watching that.
Oops. Well, this year, he always has trouble. He goes around and he has a lot of trouble trying to get this stuff up. So we thank the Viasat people again for bringing in a second system for him. So he had a really good, strong signal, and he had some nice things going. So that was really cool. And we just had a good time and love sharing it. We're going to have a lot more next week, but we wanted to give you just a little pinch of what went on there. So we're going to roll down to Mississippi, and I think George has expanded his station a little bit, his space, and he has some guests. So let's see what George has got going on. George, let's see where you're at.
Oh, Cindy! New ham.
Yay.
I'm trying to get my guests situated here. If you could go to Cheryl real quick, we'll get everything moved around and squeeze us all in.
We can do that. Hi, Cindy. All right, let's go see what's going on in the chat room while he's getting set up. Where are you at, Cheryl? It's good to see you. I'm sorry we missed you the last few weeks, but I've been gone and this and that. So take it away. What's going on in the chat room? Hello.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi there. Hi, Bob. Hi, Gordo. Hi, George. Welcome back from Dayton, and hi, everyone, and welcome to Ham Nation. I'm glad to be here tonight.
What's happening on the old chat room, kiddo? Having fun?
You know what? There was a couple of them here. First off, someone mentioned they'd like a JPEG scan of the Ham Nation badge to put on their PERS website, and they asked how they get them. Does anyone have an answer for that for WB0EOD?
They're talking about this badge, I think, maybe, the one I showed a while ago. All they have to do is email. They're going to email me, and I'll send it to wherever we got to get it to. But email me, and we'll make it happen.
Okay. And another thing is they were mentioning that you had some special headsets that were the new Heil headsets, I think you had at the Dayton Hamvention. Can you tell us what the model is, Bob, and how to get a hold of those and some specs maybe about those?
Yeah, well, it's up on the website, but yeah, it was a new product that we been working on for a long time, and just go to the website and you'll see them. ProSet 3, it's just a headphone. It's the first time in all the many decades that we've done just a headphone. It's for studio and broadcast use.
Don't you have a special little connector for the iPad with that headset?
Yeah, it comes with 3 different cables. So you can plug it into your iPad because it takes a narrower outer ring. So yeah, we got it covered. They're detachable. You know, plug in what you want.
Very nice. Essentially, so the iPad users can get involved with a nice pair of Heil headsets. Yep. So also moving on, I just wanted to put out that Andy N2FYE, he asks, is there such a thing as an inexpensive X/L rotor for satellite work? I'm not sure what that really means, but if you can translate.
Sure. Go ahead, Gordo. You're the ASL super king there. You got bunches of them on your roof. What are you using?
And you know who had a nice 12-volt rotor was Dr. Vern of Super Antennas. Dr. Vern is back, and superantennas.com probably is the website. But we're just delighted that Vern is back with Super Antennas and rotators. And you can easily work one up to be both ASL.
Yeah. And what we should explain that a little bit, maybe, Gordon. This rotor, it does 2 things. Explain to everybody that might not be familiar with ASL.
Okay. Azimuth going this way and elevation going this way to track those satellites going overhead. Azimuth and elevation.
You plug that into your computer, and like those guys in the parking lot, it was amazing. They went into their computer, and it told them where the satellite was going to be, and all of a sudden, the old rotor turns around horizontally, and then it turns vertically, and bingo, there was a satellite. It's that easy. That's cool. All right. Did that help you on that one, Cheryl? Did you understand that?
a little bit better than I did from just the question in the chat room anyway. So the other thing that everybody was really asking on the 990, did they ever mention a price at all? I know you kind of went over that a little bit, but they were really hot. They thought they had to sell their car maybe to get one of those.
No.
So it was just the price remains to be seen. But what do you think is a possible price on it?
I have no idea. What about you, Gordo? Did you hear anything more?
No, they never revealed it, and I think they're still working on it. And, Yaesu came out with a brand new one as well that looks mighty close to what the 990 looks. So they're going to probably duke it out, and we'll see whether Yaesu or Kenwood is well over the $6,000 or $7,000 mark for these great radios.
And then, of course, Elecraft had the new little KX3, and Flex had a new radio. So there's quite a few new radios this year. And I was amazed because I hadn't heard anything till we got to Dayton that there were so many newbies out there. But it's going to be quite a year, so be watching. You'll see for anybody that's new into the hobby, this is the way it works. Dayton is it's the proving ground. They come out with radios. They go there. They get all of our opinions. And yes, the radio works. I heard somebody yesterday on the bands that was saying, "Oh, it didn't work." I'm sorry, it did work. But the thing is that they go to Dayton. They get all of our ideas. If you want square knobs or round knobs or green knobs or black knobs, and they're going to go back and not refine it, but they're going to go back and match your needs, and that's beautiful. I do the same thing with our products. I just don't come out with a product and say, "Here it is." It sometimes is a couple of years of my beta team, which we have various guys help us with all that. Of course, number one beta is Joe, and we really have a lot of fun doing that because you are the design engineers in the end. So there's really no price at this time, but we'll all find out what's going to happen, Cheryl.
Oh, great. Well, there's always some new things on the horizon. Lots of things come out of the Dayton Hamvention. You never know what you're going to find after all. And was there any other things that seem to be brand new on the horizon that you didn't mention that's out there?
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of software-defined radios, even a Linko coming out with an SDR radio. So you're going to see a lot more software-defined radios in addition to the Flex and all of the other great radios.
Exactly.
So, Bob, let me turn it back to you, and then we'll go down to see who George has in his shack.
Okay, we'll do that. By the way, a lot of chat room guys asking, this badge came from the Sign Man. And the Sign Man, you can look up his website, and if you'd call the Sign Man, why, he can fix you up with that Ham Nation badge. Okay, George, let's see if you got things spread out a little bit and see what's happening in Mississippi.
Okay, Bob. Well, we got it. Everybody jammed in here. These two will attest to the fact that I have a very small shack here, although I am working on having a new one in before the summer. Before we get started, though, I want to mention about our friend Tom Samasico, KB4HQA, who runs the HQA radio website and podcast. Tom was involved in a traffic accident when he was leaving the hotel, headed back to the airport to leave Dayton. And I believe he has 2 fractures in his left arm and a fractured C3 vertebrae. He's in the hospital right now in Dayton, undergoing surgery. The prognosis for recovery is good, but he's got some more surgery to go and some rehabilitation before he's back and rolling again. So if everyone would remember Tom there, we'd appreciate it. He's a great friend of ours, and we really hated to hear about this, and we got him in our prayers. Now, the 2 people to my right here, this character over here on the far right, you probably know him. Say hello, Ray.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I try to stir up a little bit of trouble both at Dayton and then outside of Dayton as well.
Yeah, he does. And he's down here in my part of the country doing it this week, guys. Right next to him here is his lovely bride, Cindy, who has
Hey, everybody.
She has a special certificate here that some character signed.
All right, a new ham. New ham.
A new ham. And
I still haven't gotten my call sign. But they said probably sometime this week.
That's great. I see it.
Okay, we gotta understand where it is. Okay, that's cool.
That's great.
That is terrific. Well, congratulations, Cindy, and what a weekend. And hey, Ray, what a big announcement that you and Cindy put together with Boy Scouts of America, huh?
Oh, yeah. This at Dayton, while everybody was busy introducing new radios, we didn't have anything to really show and had to come up with a way of spreading ham radio to people that were not normally used to seeing it. And what ICOM America did with the Boy Scouts of America is we put together a sponsorship package that was not only for the Jamboree, but also for everyday activities for the Boy Scouts. And my understanding that the ink dried the Friday that we were setting up, or the Friday before I left, the Friday before I left to go set up. And not all the details are worked out yet, but it's going to be a lot of fun with the Boy Scouts. We're going to have 10 traveling kits for the Radio Merit Badge programs on a daily basis. Then we'll be there for the Jamboree and have not only radio but personnel to help train and use the ICOM radios. And then on our new facility, we'll have a full-time setup with UHF, VHF analog repeaters, D-Star repeaters, as well as HF and I think a PW1 amplifier as well.
We might have a picture of that kit. It was a really nice-looking Pelican case, wasn't it? Is that what it was in?
Yeah, it was in a Pelican case with the radio. Right now, microphone, external speaker, power supply, and down below is an antenna that does not require a tuner. But when I was talking to Jim Wilson today, Bob, he mentioned your name. So I got an idea there might be some headsets going along with that as well.
Yeah, we talked. Yeah, that'll be great. We're looking forward to that. And the Boy Scouts, of course, do so much to bring amateur radio to the young boys, and we're looking forward to their special Boy Scout Jamboree. That's really a highlight of amateur radio. So thanks for doing that. We really appreciate that. It's great.
And two other things. One of the things that helped motivate Cindy was the handheld that I promised her if she got her license. And then she also made it by Tim Duffy for the Contest University. And this bag is full of all kinds of goodies there.
All right.
That's nice. I didn't get to go to Contest University, but I did make it to the Top Band dinner they were sponsoring on Saturday night. I made it to the ICOM dealer dinner, too, on Friday night. We all had a great time there, Bob and Gordo and myself and everyone else, and we thank you for the invitation, and thank Tim, K3LR, from Contest University as well.
So yeah, we all had a pretty good time, and Cindy got to see what it was like on our side of the counter, and she goes, "Oh, man, I'm ready to go to sleep." And I'm like, we got 2 more events to hit, and it was about 11 o'clock.
Well, that's great.
Congratulations.
Well, congrats on your license, Cindy. We'll have to be making sure we get to work you on the air if you can find a radio, and I bet you can. we need to say hello to Tim, K3LR. He works really hard to put on this Contest University. And for a lot of you guys that are first times to Dayton or just being aware of amateur radio, he does this all day on Thursday. He brings in the top people around the globe to teach. And it's not just contest, but radios. I had a number of guys. There were hundreds of people there. They sign up for this all day. And they said to me, wow, we went there just to learn how to put up antennas, how to tune antennas, how to do this, how to do that. And that's what it's all about, because it's top-level people teaching amateur radio. And Tim does that, K3LR. And everybody here at Ham Nation is very, I'm sure, familiar with Tim and his great station out in Pennsylvania. But he shares all of that knowledge to putting that super station together with all of us that are just running a dipole. And that's going to be our thrust here for the next month. We're going to start doing some really cool things, simple things, but important things. So we want to make that happen. So George and the Novacks, we want to wish you the best, and thanks for having them on down there in Mississippi. Anything else here at the last hour, George?
Well, I think I don't know what we're going to do next year, but we're certainly going to turn on the air conditioner because it gets hot in here with all these lights, doesn't it, Ray?
It does get a little bit warm down here, but I know Cindy's been saying that there's been too much rain and cold weather in Seattle, so she's glad to be back down here in the heat.
Well, we're glad.
I will never complain about the heat.
There you go. There you go.
Guys, we're going to finish up this Dayton next
I do
year,
have one more thing. I wanted to say hi to Mr. and Mrs. Novack. Hi, Ray, and congratulations, Cindy. That is so terrific that you've got your license. And I'm sure that Ray will just love that, too, that you guys can work together. And I also wanted to make one more quick announcement from N4H AI that his honey, his lady, KD8 OCB, got her extra class at Dayton this year. Right. So a big congratulations goes out to KD8 OCB and to you as well, Cindy. It's great. And one more thing, I just wanted to make a quick announcement too, that if you're really interested and you want to know a little bit about comparisons of radios and things like that, Sherwood Engineering has got a nice website there as SHERWENG.com. They're kind of like a consumer report. So that's SHERWENG.com. If you want to find out a little bit about comparisons, you can go ahead and look at that too. And a big, big happy birthday to Ham Nation. Happy birthday, thanks. Ham Nation.
Thank you. And Cheryl, I wanted to tell you one other thing. Did you know what's going to happen now at the Novack household? Did I share this with you? Did you know that Ray is going to come home to a cold stove and a hot transmitter? Did you know that?
That's really neat. I guess the transistors will be warm then, won't they? They'll be waiting, and that's what's for dinner after this.
That's right.
Well, Bob, I can hardly wait to get home so I can start drilling holes and putting antennas on her car.
Right. There you go.
I also have my For the Love of Ham radio bumper sticker.
There you go.
And I've got a prize here if we have time to give away our prize, Bob.
Go get it.
Okay. The question for this week's contest at hamnationcontest@gmail.com was, what is the type of flux that you never want to use on electronics? And we had a winner. That was Foy, N1FOY. And he said acid core. So congratulations, Foy. We're going to send you this copy of The Artful Solderer by Lee Tingler, the inventor of the Solder Buddy. And next week we're going to give away another one of these MFJ 24-hour clocks. And if you'd like to win that, send your answer to hamnationcontest@gmail.com. And the question is, what is Field Day?
What is what now? Say it. Repeat it.
Day.
Okay.
Yeah, what is Field Day?
What is Field Day? Gotcha.
And I'll be glad to bring that to Foy at Dallas HamCom in a couple weeks.
Okay. Well, you can stick it in your luggage.
All right. Well, thanks very much for being here. Gordo, what's going to close the door in Costa Mesa tonight? Everything okay? You ready to go out and work 7268?
Yep, we're dialed into 7268 right now, as you can hear in the background. We're getting ready for Julian's marriage next week, so we're going to come to you live and direct next week from Maui, Hawaii. Any Maui hams, we're coming over. Let me know who you are. We need a hot spot to get our Ham Nation back to you. So we'll be live and direct next week, Maui, Hawaii, with Julian and Hannah's marriage. Back to you, Bob.
What we should have known about that, we could have had a Viasat satellite system put in the trunk for you or something. Well, it's been such a great fun sharing Dayton with everyone, and we'll be back with more video and more news and just some of the excitement of Dayton. Yes, it's really exciting. My first one was 1959, and I wasn't there successfully each year because I was out on the road, as many of you know, for many years. But from 1978 on, I've been there every year, and it continues to have that incredible thrust, and we have so much fun at Dayton. I hope you can join us. But more than that, I hope you join us every week here on Ham Nation. Spread the word. tell everybody what's going on. And again, this is our anniversary, 1 whole year, and we've made it. So next week will be show number 50. And we look forward to seeing you right here on the TWiT network. Thank you very much, Leo Laporte, for sharing the bandwidth. And thanks to Brian and Lynn and everyone in Petaluma that produced the show tonight. We appreciate it. 7-3, everyone. We're off to 7268, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye for now.
6-8, stand by for net.